Thank you. Dave, have you heard the request of the guardian ad litem to suspend your parenting time?
I have.
And do you believe that's in the best interest of your children?
No, I do not.
Why not?
One of the visits that I had with Malachi,
remember we're on YouTube, so just
sorry.
use abbreviations.
Okay.
With
the second oldest, that works good too. With my second oldest, where he was dysregulated, he was very upset, and during the visit, it got to be towards the end of the visit, and he came up to me and he told me that he was sorry, and he told me that he loved me. He told me that he missed me, and I asked him if that's why he was acting out, and he told me yes. He also told me that he wants to come home, and also because I'm going to be honest, so there were 3 referrals from U of M that U of M had placed out when they had first got taken, and they thought that, well, the pediatrician thinks that he has autism. The U of M, pretty much, I have it in paperwork, states that he has autism. And one of those referrals that were supposed to be in, I have been going to every single one of my kids' doctor's appointments. And at the last doctor's appointment that we had, the pediatrician herself looked at Atlas and asked her, why have these referrals not been placed out yet? Why are these referrals not being done? Because one of those referrals was supposed to be a 10-week program that me and Malachi were supposed to attend together, so I could learn how to better manage those behaviors that come from autism. And none of them were followed up on. And the pediatrician even said, like, honestly, if that was us, we would have already been hit for neglect.
You believe that you were told to follow up on something and you took this long to follow up, that there would be a case open?
I have asked Atlas, and I spoke.
Yes or no?
Okay, say that again.
You believe that if it were you and you would have taken this long to follow up on recommended services, that you would have a case open?
Yes, I do.
And do you believe that a lot of M's behaviors could be due to an autism diagnosis, not some sort of related issue to you specifically?
Yes, I do.
And do you think that he is maybe mad at you because this case is open and now he has been removed from his home?
Yes, I do. And he has told me to my face that that is the reason why he's been acting out, is because he loves me and he wants to come back home.
And you think that's fair that he could be upset, right?
I do. He's 5. He's never been away from me ever in his life. And this is the first time that he's ever been away from me. So he probably does hate me at this point because he probably thinks that I abandoned him. And to throw autism and ADHD up on there too, like, I completely understand why he's so dysregulated. And my visits have been so chaotic because Malik requires a lot of attention, and I am dealing with 4 kids instead of 2 that they get.
Do you think that splitting up visits could be beneficial?
Yes, I do.
And you would make as many visits per week as possible, right? If they said you can visit individually with each kid, you could accommodate for 4 visits a week?
Yes, I do.
And you wouldn't have a problem with that?
No.
And you would be doing that in addition to the voluntary services that you've already begun?
Yes.
And is that what you're asking the court to do as an alternative to suspending your time completely?
Yes, because honestly, that is why the visits are so chaotic, is because M is very dysregulated because of autism, because of ADHD, because of, this is the first time he's ever been away from me. He's told me, like, I've asked him why he's upset. He's told me to my face that it is because he wants to come back home. All of my children, every single time I go to a visit with them, tell me that they want to come home. My daughter screams for me every time I put her in my sister's car.
There was some testimony about M's autism assessment that was like done virtually. Is that right?
Yeah.
And did that assessor ask you if there had been any trauma in his life?
Oh, it wasn't for it was for B.
Okay.
And I was not talking crap about their dad. And this is another thing why this is another reason why I didn't want to plead guilty, because you guys are trying to make me look like I'm some kind of criminal.
Not me, guys.
Not you. They are. They're trying to make me look like I'm some kind of criminal. The only thing that was talked about is the guy that did the appointment had asked me if there has ever been trauma.
So you weren't trying to make that appointment about you or about dad, or you were just trying to explain kind of the situation?
Yes, he asked me if there was trauma, and I told him the truth.
And this is right.
There's trauma. His dad did try to suffocate him. Like, I don't know how else to beat around the bush. Like, you guys all know that he tried to suffocate his son. And I don't really think that it's considered talking crap. The doctor asked me if there was trauma. I said the truth.
Okay. As it specifically relates to your parenting time, is there anything else that you want to tell the court today?
No, I just asked that they all be separated, because it is hard at this time to keep them all regulated, because Malachi does have autism and maybe ADHD, and like, I do better with them by myself. And if these referrals would have been followed up on, like the pediatrician has asked Atlas why they haven't been followed up on, then I could have already been doing this 10-week program with my son to help address what needs to be addressed. And that this all could have been avoided if Atlas would have had done the referrals months ago like she was supposed to.
So do you think if by separating visits, doing services with your children individually, you would be able to work back up to having visits with all of them at the same time?
Wait. This mom just stunned the courtroom that the court wants to cut her off from her kids, but she says, "They need me." Her son broke down crying, "I want to come home." She claims it's not her fault, it's trauma and untreated autism. Truth or excuse?
Yeah.
I have no other questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
Thank you. Ms. Double, the referrals you're referring to, I'm trying to understand them, okay? You had mentioned that at the time of removal, U of M made like 3 different referrals for M?
Yeah.
Okay. Who did they send those referrals to?
I'm not sure who they sent them to. All I got is a letter that I have sent to Atlas. I have got a hold of her boss because she has taken so long to do these referrals that were supposed to be done. And Atlas has known about these referrals since since the second day of the kids being removed.
Okay. So I'm sorry to cut you off, but so you received a notice of I'm going to call it like a treatment plan, essentially?
Yeah, he was, U of M sent out a thing where me and Malachi were supposed to do this 10-week program together to help address the behaviors and to help address trauma. And they were supposed to do a contrast because he drools a lot. And they were trying to figure out if it was like something to do with his mouth muscles themselves. And then she had sent out another referral that me and Malachi were supposed to go sit through a 3-hour appointment to see if he has ADHD, because all of these behaviors that he is doing is backed by autism.
Okay.
Like, and they're all signs of autism.
Okay.
I have a letter from U of M stating that he basically has autism. His pediatrician thinks he has autism. Like, these referrals were supposed to be done months ago.
So why didn't you make the referrals?
Why didn't I make the referrals? Yeah. Because I had told Atlas about it several times. I've asked Atlas about it several times. I didn't know if I was able to do those referrals because technically they're under your guys' jurisdiction. So you guys should have been the ones to do them.
But you go to all the appointments, correct?
I do.
And you're being updated about medical things and if they need anything, like your
Yep, and
your
I
rights
have
are still in
I'm
place.
going to object to this line of
And
questioning.
I have
Wait, one
asked,
second. So I don't think that it's fair to ask my client why she's not following up on services when her children are not in her care.
Yeah.
We all know she can't call and schedule an appointment for her children. They're not in her care. She can't do that.
Hey, I'm just gonna let you all know that, given the nature of the allegations in the petition and how fresh this case is compared to how recently these kids were just released back to these parents, which was just in January, I have access to all my notes from the prior case. And I'll just preface this so that you can all ask about it. My notes indicate that there was some analysis done in July of 2024 indicating that an autism assessment needed to be completed. And at this time, the children were with your client, Ms. Berger. So far beyond the issue of whether or not these referrals have been made in the last 60 days when the children have been under the jurisdiction of the court and the department, the much larger question here is why have these assessments not been completed when that referral was under your client's responsibilities as of July of 2024?
Oh, and I can have her testify to that, Your Honor, but I believe she had been taking them to those appointments, and where she stopped and where the department should have picked back up, that's what she's saying. There's been a lapse.
All right, I would love to hear some more detail on that point.
Sure.
okay, so the answer to that question is when that first referral went out for autism, Jeff had taken them in Jeff had taken them in there for that appointment. Jeff never told me that there was an autism thing that was sent out. And when I learned about it by the pediatrician,
Which was Which was when?
Whenever they were sent out the second time. And I told the pediatrician, I said, because she said that she did put out that referral. And I told the pediatrician that nobody had ever called me, not once.
So when they told you about it, that's when you started following up with you,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. But anyways, back to what I was trying to say is that when I found out that had been put out, I started doing my own investigation, and the place that she had originally put out that autism thing to, I called them myself, and they told me that they never got a hold of me because the phone number that they were given by the pediatrician was not a good number. And it was an old number. So I called the pediatrician's doctor's office and I said, what's going on? I've updated you guys with my phone number. And Amanda, I remember exactly who I talked to from the pediatrician's office. Her name's Amanda. Amanda told me that when I had called to update my phone number with the doctor's office, that they updated all of the phone numbers on my kids except for Braxton and left Braxton as an old phone number. And that is why they had not, that is why they were not able to get a hold of me about the referral. So that again should not fall back on me.
So as soon as you found out about it though, you followed up.
I did.
Okay.
And
I think Ms. Thomas was asking questions, so I'll let her take back over.
Can I say one more thing? The original autism thing that she had sent it out to, I think was Centria of Autism. And
Who are you talking about? Who is she?
the pediatrician, the referral that you're talking about from 2024 that everybody's saying that I never followed up on. So I did, that's what I was just saying. I called the Century of Autism. I'm pretty sure that's where it's called, that's where it's from. And that
Just stop, because I'm not even, the information that you're offering hasn't been contextualized or structured in a way that's relevant at this point. So I'm going to go back to Ms.
followed
Thomas.
up on. And I'm telling you why it wasn't followed up on.
I need you to stop talking right now. Ms. Thomas is in the process of asking questions. We're going to let her finish that, and then Ms. Berger can come back to you and maybe ask you some other questions in a minute.
Wait, The courtroom just turned into a full-on blame game. Flushed face, the judge asks why critical autism assessments were never completed, and the mom instantly fires back, claiming delays, wrong contact info, and that the system failed her. But then the judge drops a bombshell, saying those referrals were actually her responsibility since 2024. Now the tension is sky high, because this isn't just about missed appointments anymore. It's about who really failed the child first. So what do you think? System failure or excuse? Backhand index pointing down.
Ms. Thomas.
Your Honor, at this point, I have no further questions.
All right, back to you, Ms. Berger.
Okay, so there was a recommendation for an autism assessment in July or June of 2024, right? Okay, and that was given to Dad.
Yep.
And
And I just want to clarify for you that it was actually part of a CTAC evaluation that was provided to both parents.
okay,
No, it wasn't.
well, if the record says it does, then it
Okay,
does.
the record speaks for itself, Ms.
Yeah.
Duval.
So when were you made aware that he needed to have an assessment?
When I asked her to place it back out for the second time.
When?
With the correct phone number.
Like date, time?
It was about 3 months ago. Well, it's whenever it was the close to time that they were removed from me.
Okay. So at that time you were like, hey, what's going on with this assessment? I haven't heard anything else. You reached out to the pediatrician. Pediatrician said, oh, we have the wrong number. You updated that. And then from there you received a phone call to do the assessment. Is that right?
I had already updated my phone number. Whoever
Right.
updated,
But you updated
did not
it again.
update it right, because they updated my phone number with all of the kids'
Except one
except for the one.
that was needing that.
Yep.
Okay, assessment. Okay. Okay. So as it relates to parenting time, you think that, again, you think that you could do individual sessions and work towards having all of them back together at once, right? Okay. I don't have any other questions. Okay.
Okay. Any other attorneys have questions for this witness?
Yes.
Mr. Rob?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Shealy. He said no.
Okay. Do you agree with the assessment from Ms. Brene Moore and the caseworker myself that parenting time is not going well? Just yes or no?
No.
You don't agree with that assessment?
No.
There's nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. May you return to your seat. Anyone else would like us to hear from Ms. Berger?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Counselors, anything else for the record today?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your
Then
Honor.
obviously my decision for you on parenting time.
Nothing additional.
Okay. Any comments about the issue of parenting time, the request for that, the continued removal, or anything else pending our next retrial?
Nothing further.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further.
Okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Shealy, I can read lips, but technically we need your response verbally.
No, Judge.
I think, thank you. All right. Well, as I previously stated, as it relates to the request for parenting time, the court looks at this case, frankly, in a much larger perspective than simply what's happened since the removal on 9/19/25. And the petition asks the court to do that. The last case with this family and both of these parents and all of these children occurred as recently as April 12, 2024 in a petition requesting in-home jurisdiction. Many pieces of analysis were accomplished during the course of time that the parents were subject to the court's jurisdiction during that last case. Some of the things that came up were some diagnoses and some needs for each of the parents, as well as for the children, including that need for further analysis, an in-depth analysis of M's special needs, as well as some of the other children's needs. Part of the issues at the last juncture were the unmet needs of the children around some of these things, but at the time the court closed jurisdiction back in January, the family seemed to be on track with addressing some of those. The need for removal became adamantly clear, or abundantly clear, I should say, for all of the reasons that the courts previously indicated, but it's very clear that those reasons are indeed very similar to some of the issues that arose at the outset of the last time this family had to have court involvement. And that does include some of those services that would have been necessary for M, potentially for Ms. Double, and that those have not taken place, and that the children's mental health has suffered significantly as a result of that in the meantime. I have already indicated that parenting time should be subject to the authority of the therapeutic supervised parenting time coordinator. In this case, that is Ms. Renee Moore. We obviously have another CTAC underway. I would say to the department and our agencies and our care providers that you don't have to go back or reach back very far in order to find some of the analysis that has been completed on these children. And I would ask you to do that so that you can make sure that our current analysis and service providers, thank you, this is just my copy of the petition, so that our current service providers that are working with the children can have the same contacts in order to most effectively streamline and coordinate services. So I do appreciate, I'll say this, I appreciate the department, Mr. Howitt, and Ms. Brene Moore asking me to make this decision so that I can have the opportunity to listen to Ms. Stubble and Mr. Patterson and the arguments of the attorneys before I formally suspended parenting time, because I had already effectively given her the discretion to do that. I do find that as a result of her observations, our caseworkers' observations, and the unmet needs of the children, their demonstrated behaviors around parenting time, that it is consistent with the showing that there's harm associated with parenting time with Ms. Double at this time. I am suspending parenting time. I want to remind everyone that we are back here December 1st. Thank you, Ms. Double. We appreciate your time for today. Yep. We'll be back here December 1st at 3 o'clock. I would love to see further updates from our service providers, from Ms. Brene Moore, perhaps from Erin Abbott, confirmation of circulation of those records that may be useful in expanding the perspective on this issue. The removal will continue. The children are remaining to be in the safest and least restrictive circumstances under, at the moment. And we'll explore that further again when we come back for pretrial on December 1st at 3 o'clock. I will issue the order from today's pretrial that encompasses all of the things that were decided over the course of today, including scheduling, the suspension of parenting time, the request to circulate prior records that are implicated significantly in our petition for our service providers, as well as those changes to parenting time for Ms. Double. Unless there's any questions, that's all for today.
Wait. Everything just flipped flushed-faced. The mom says visits are fine, but the judge disagrees. After mistreatments and ongoing issues, the court makes it official. Parenting time is suspended. Collision kids stay in care. Case continues.